Hello and welcome to the 2016 Goodwood Festival of Speed. It's a GTPlanet special report. My name is Tom Brooks and we're here in Chichester to have a look and see exactly what is on offer. The theme this year is BMW and celebrating 100 years of their cars, and that is in reference of course to the sculpture that is on display here this year, representing the past, the present and the future for BMW. And there's plenty of other things on display for spectators, fans, media people and everything of the like, with plenty of stars in and amongst the mix as well. So let's show you exactly what is on offer here at Goodwood in 2016. So we're now in the Michelin supercar paddock and we're here with the Honda NSXs at the moment. As we move on down, let's just have a look. The first of the breed, the 1990 Honda NSX, made very famous of course by Ayrton Senna, who co-designed and helped develop the chassis on the car. Never sold in great numbers did the NSX, but a very nice car to look at. And as we move further on down the order, we can see the likes of the last of the breed, the last model of this sort of shape of car, the 2003 machine. Key differences in terms of aesthetics is the difference of this car is that it doesn't have pop-up headlights, whereas the 1990 version does. Again, a more developed chassis, faster engine, and of course, if you were a big fan of Top Gear, you'll have seen the likes of Jeremy Clarkson, of course, racing around Laguna Seca, trying to beat his time that he set on a PlayStation. A very nice car indeed. And of course then it went out of production after 2003 for quite a long time, and then back into this year as well, the 2016 Honda NSX, and you can see some huge design differences where the car has evolved over the years. It's been through a wind tunnel, it's got larger gills, larger air intakes, and it's a very nice machine. As we move into the Ferrari section, a lot of people here at Goodwood on the Thursday very interested in this. The first car on the blocks is the Ferrari F12 TDF, standing for Tour de France. Of course, that name now being copyrighted means that they can't actually use. Moving further on down the line, I got the likes of the 458 Speciale there, and then as we move further on down the line, something that fans of motor racing and indeed Gran Turismo will be familiar with as well, the Ferrari 458 GT3. This car actually competes within the British GT Championships, and then one of my personal favourites within the Ferrari section as well, the FXX Evo, the 599 Evo. The brand new FXX machine as well, the Ferrari FXXK car at the moment. They're just putting some vinyl wrapping on the backboard there, but again, a hugely aerodynamically advanced machine. So now into the Porsche section of the Michelin supercar run, and starting off with quite a cracker as well, the Porsche 918 Hybrid. What a fantastic machine this is as well, and you can really see that they've not skimped in terms of design. Looking at the rear of the car first, you can see the huge exhausts that are channeling out air, and of course they will spit flame as well once you are going at full power. We've got the 911 Turbo S as well, this being the latest 2016 model. Again, of course, Porsche predominantly being one of the only car companies that puts the engine within the rear of the car, but a very nicely perfected design as well. And I have to say, I particularly love this really nice aesthetic detail, sort of harks back almost to the Porsches that we had in sort of the 70s and 80s. So moving further on up the supercar run, we can see the brand new Rolls-Royce that's on display at the moment as well. A very nice machine, garnering a lot of attention as well from the crowds that are here, and a very nice understated design as well. Of course, designed more for luxury. Moving further on round the car, we can see very nice sculpted lines, all in, of course, in the aim of providing comfort for the driver, and a beautiful interior on this car as well. We get some nice close-ups of that for the first time today as well, and really does look very nice inside the cockpit. Lashings of leather and metal, of course, and chrome, and it's all very lovely in there, and a four-seater as well. I mean, I think I'd probably struggle to get in the back of one of those, but nonetheless, a very nice car indeed. And as we move further on up as well, we'll just go around the back of the roller here and over to the Mercedes-Benz GTS. What a machine this is. Incorrectly identified at the last time that we did one of these, but hopefully we'll get it right this time. McLaren 675 LT, LT standing for long tail, allegedly faster around some circuits than the P1 has been. I like how they've kept the engine on display. So many manufacturers you'll see have got heat shielding with the design of covering up the engine and covering up these exhaust pipes as well, but it just looks so nice and so beautifully engineered GTS Can-Am car, looking very, very nice there. And again, another car just to its left that is garnering quite a fair amount of attention is the McLaren P1 James Hunt. Absolutely gorgeous. As we sweep round and show you it now, we can really have a look and see exactly what this car is all about. Of course, a replica of James Hunt's helmet, or a very sort of play-off of a design, really, more than anything, over the car as well. And you can see really sort of in there, very track-focused design, of course, to be designed around going very quickly around some circuits. And of course, this car to commemorate James Hunt's 40th year for the Formula One World Championship. Of course, 40 years since he took that title masterfully at Fuji in 1976. The KTM Crossbow GT4 machine that we've seen competing, of course, within various European championships. And this is an absolutely gorgeous car. The KTM Crossbow, of course, traditionally being an open cockpit. GT4 rules, of course, do not allow that. But the thing I really do like, actually, if we come round to the front, is the pushrod suspension. Absolutely beautiful piece of design, and it's really nice they've kept it on display, of course, within this sort of perspex area as well for the drivers to sort of behold. And I think we're going to actually be able to have a look inside the interior as well. Let's have a look, lift off the front canopy there and look inside the machine. You can just see how track focused it is as well, the nice sort of interface for the drivers, and again, of course, a moulded seat for them to contend with as well, and not being a two-seater, though you could probably put a two seats in for a passenger ride if you want to. But again, you've got the full roll cage, of course, over the driver. I should imagine probably not the easiest thing to get in and out of during driver changes, but again, lots of switches and toggles and race harnesses and buttons on the steering wheel for the drivers to be able to deal with. But absolutely gorgeous machinery. So we move on over to the Xenos E10R, and again, an open cockpit machine, generally designed for sort of track use. Again, it's not really a road-going variant, but we can see with a little sort of information thing, you've got the E10, which is sort of the more road-going version. You've got the E10S, which is the sport version there as well. Again, 2-litre engines for the E10 and the E10S, and the E10R, a 2.3 EcoBoost with a 6-speed transmission and a dry weight without the driver in it of just 700 kilograms. So that must go like the proverbial off a shovel, really. So we're here with Will at Radical with the brand new 500 turbo machine. Will, tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, so this is the new Radical RXE Turbo 500R. We launched this at Geneva Motor Show at the beginning of this year, and this is the first customer car being delivered here at Goodwood Motor Show. And so it's our first time at Goodwood as well, so yeah, really excited to see what we can do.
Well, that's fantastic. It's a really very, very nice car. I mean, if we look sort of at the front of the machine there as well, it's a very, very sort of track focused, almost sort of LMP3 sort of design at the front that we can see there as well, really, sort of a track focused car, really.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and there's a lot of influence taken from our previous experience. Of course, we competed in LMP2 with the SR9, so there's a lot of influence there, particularly in the aerodynamics and the chassis design. This is the first time that we've shown this car with an all carbon bodywork as well, so that saves some 50 kilograms in the all-out weight of the car. But yeah, absolutely, you're absolutely right. It's got that real sort of mini prototype feel to it, but obviously in a package that you can drive on the road.
I wouldn't want to take it over a speed hump if that's anything to go by. But again, I was just having a quick look inside, and you've still got creature comforts like air conditioning, like lights and heaters, and
yeah, I mean, if
and
we take a look. I mean, if you look in the cockpit there, you can see as well that we've got electric heated front windscreen, as you say, electric mirrors, air conditioning. This car's fitted with a multi-point adjustable ABS and traction control system. We've got launch control for the first time. Adjustable electric power steering, as you say, and there's even cup holders and a 12-volt auxiliary socket as well. So unusually for a track day car, it's very, very well appointed.
Well, that's fantastic. And of course, we've got the likes of Radical Racing series that of course go around national circuits in the UK. Could we see this perhaps out on track in its own series in the future?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, undoubtedly. And indeed, the GT3 specification car is already racing within our Radical European Masters as well as in international GT championships around the world. So yeah, it's already out there along with its open cockpit stablemate, the RXE Spider.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you, Will, for taking the time to let us have a look around the car, and really appreciate it.
That's a pleasure.
So we're here with the brand new 2016 Porsche 911 Carrera S. And what a gorgeous machine, I'm sure you'll agree it is as well. Nice sculpted lines here, and looking very nice. I am, of course, just joshing you. It's not in at the moment. Further on up as well, the Mazda MX-5 Speedster. Of course, that came out towards the back end of last year, and this a very large evolution of that. Of course, you can see the windscreen's been taken away, the hardtop's been taken away, and all the creature comforts really that you'd expect to find in a Mazda are still there. But it's very much more track focused with the Recaro or the Sparco bucket seats and the like, and again, a very nice looking machine. but yes, perhaps one that you might need to wear a crash helmet with. And further on over here, actually, I do want to have a look at the BMW 2002 Homage as well, of course, because one of my favourite cars to see on circuit was the BMW 2002, and this is absolutely gorgeous. And I'm also, aside from BMWs, a big fan of Volvos, and I'm so pleased to see the Polestar Volvo that's here at the Goodwood Festival of Speed in that beautiful blue colour. If I were ever to own a Volvo, it would be in this colour, I have to say. It is absolutely gorgeous. Lovely wheels on it, lovely design, nice simplistic lines, classic Volvo really more than anything. It just looks absolutely gorgeous. So we're here at the classic area for the Goodwood Festival of Speed. Here's the Lamborghini Diablo, here's the Countach, Jurama S, Espada 400 GT, Miura P400 Super Veloce, and Urarco Silhouette. And moving on over to the Alpines, here we have the Interlagos A108, A110 Berlinette, A110 SX Berlinette, and here's the Marignac. And finally, bringing us up to date, it's the Alpine Vision 2016. Right, so we're here at the Michelin stand, and as you can see, I'm having a go on a Ducati. We're here with the ELMS car in the LMP3 category. That's a Chris Hoy and Charlie Robertson race. And then we're moving on over to look at the Green GT. This is a full hydrogen-powered Garage 56 Hopeful machine, and an absolutely spectacular piece of machinery it is as well. And you never know, we might see it on the road to Le Mans in the future. Here are the trophies from the 2015 Le Mans event, of course, where the Chevrolet Corvette finished in first position in the GTE Pro category. This year, unfortunately, they finished disappointing 25th overall and unfortunately off the GTE podium. But nonetheless, fantastic to see the car that is on display here today as well. And great for the fans to be able to get up close with it and just sort of get an idea of exactly what goes into these GTE machines. Really is a fantastic design, this, and it makes such a lovely burble, does that Corvette. Really very distinctive compared to the likes of the other GTE competitors. So we move on to the Jaguar Formula E stand, of course, with Jaguar coming into Formula E later on this year. It's going to be very, very interesting, but they've got a lovely car that's on display at the moment as well, of course, the FE01. Also at the Jaguar stand as well, we've got the unveiling of the brand new Land Rover Evoque as well, and we've got nice Discovery Sport that's on display, as well as a few more Discoveries just behind me, as well as the Range Rover Sport, etc. And then, of course, over to the other side, we've got the Jaguars as well. We've got some XFs and XF convertibles, and there's also some driving experiences that are on offer here today as well, so people can get behind the wheel of a Jaguar or a Land Rover or anything really that they desire. It's absolutely fantastic that they're able to sort of get involved really and enjoy themselves more than anything. You can see a nice Discovery Sport here really, so we can see up close, and here's the experience as well. So you can see the car just being pivoted around there, and then it will descend down and sort of really selling the car, as it were. And just over to the left-hand side, you can see people having a go in the disco as well, and having a bit of a drive. And yeah, really great to see that people are able to get nice and up close. But yeah, just a few ideas of what's going on here at the Jaguar Land Rover stand at the Goodwood Festival of Speed. So moving on over to the Mazda stand, we've got a couple of Mazda MX-5s, the standard one here and the Icon here. Good, right, there we are. Are you happy now, Famine? Sure you are. And what we'll do now is move on over and have a look and see what Renault are offering, because they've got a few things that are on display, the likes of the new Megane GT, they've got an F1 car on display, they've got the Formula E car, so let's see exactly what they are offering. So the Megane GT, brand new for 2016, and what a gorgeous looking machine it is, inside and out as well. Very, very nicely engineered. The Renault, of course, designed to be a replica of the RS16 that is currently out on the Formula 1 bill. And very nice, of course, displaying, of course, the livery there. And then as we move further on around, we've got the likes of the FE01, the Formula E car. The Edam's Renault are running, of course, with Sebastian Buemi and Nico Prost as drivers. Again, of course, we saw this earlier on at Jaguar. But great to see it on display at Renault as well, and in the full racing livery. And also we've got the new Scenic here as well. This is a brand new car for 2016, very popular, of course, amongst families. So brand new Scenic. They've got a couple of Clios. The Clio RS is over there. I believe we've got the Megane RS as well that's on display. But yeah, quite a few things that are going on here at Renault. Now inside the Ford stand, we've got a few Lego models of a few cars. We've got the Ford GT40, of course, the original Le Mans killer, as it were. And then moving on further back, we've got the latest Le Mans winner within the GTE Pro category, of course, with the brand new 2016 Ford GT, comprised of Lego and beautifully done as well, if I may say so. And then something that is very interesting and something that I hadn't seen before, we came to this show, which is a mock-up of a road-going version of the Ford GT that's going to be out on the shelves for people to buy. And how stunning does that look? It's just gorgeous. Finished in this beautiful white colour as well. Those twin exhausts at the back and the lights and all of the air intakes, and it's just such a gorgeous piece of design. They're moving around the front as well. I mean, it just looks so lovely. Very, very nice indeed. So that's a bit of a look at the road-going versions of the cars, and we should have a car here in theory as well, unfortunately, but alas, there is none. Also on display in the Ford stand as well this year, the 2016 Le Mans winning car within the GTE Pro category. It's wonderful to be able to see it on display. We had a look at the road-going version earlier on. We've got the racing version here, of course, which we saw the likes of Andy Priaulx driving, Marino Franchitti, of course, as well, and so on and so forth. And it really is absolutely brilliant to be able to see it on display here with the number 67, of course, on the side as well. Of course, the numbers at the Le Mans were representing the different years that Ford won Le Mans back in the 60s, and really giving you an idea of what the heritage behind Ford is within racing. So it's really wonderful to see. So plenty of cars that are on display here, including at the Goodwood Members Club as well. We've got the McLaren F1 GTR and the McLaren P1 GTR. And you can really see as we look close up the evolution of design between the two machines. Of course, the McLaren, very famous for racing in the 90s, of course, went to Le Mans for the first time, did the McLaren F1 and won its class. And of course the McLaren P1, a very, very hyper-performance road car, very similar liveries of course on the two machines as well. Difference of course being between the two primarily, of course aside from the design, is that the F1 is powered by a BMW engine, whereas the P1 is powered by McLaren's own power plant. This one of course driven by Schumacher as well, of course, and very, very nice car it is. Look at the design, the detailing, of course, on the rear end of the car as well. And then if we go over to the P1 as well, you can really sort of see the difference, especially at the front end of the cars. You can see sort of where the front end on the McLaren F1 is very minimalist and very simple, whereas on the P1 it's much more advanced, the bigger gills, the bigger air intakes and the like as well. And as we move further on down the car, that's further echo with bigger, more aggressive air intakes, larger wings on the car, bigger diffusers, and those huge exhausts as well, which I'm fairly sure I can, fit my hand and some inside of. So an absolutely monstrous car is this P1 GTR. A very big shame about the weather, but absolutely fantastic to see them both on display here at the Goodwood members area. On display here is the Lamborghini Huracan. We've got the road-going version here as well, a bit of a special version, this being the Aventador Mura Homage machine, actually, as well. And you can see very distinctive sort of red and gold paint livery as well. Very, very nice. And we've got the racing GT3 version over there as well, which competes in the Blancpain series. We'll just take a quick wander on down and have a little bit of a look at it. You can see sort of it's garnering a bit of interest already, but again, far more advanced than its road-going compatriot. Look at the rear enders here as well, the huge diffuser, the huge exhaust once again, and those wing deflectors on the back as well, really pushing down the downforce, creating the downforce, of course, throughout the whole of design. And moving on over to an area that's very dear to my heart, the Formula One paddock. Absolutely fantastic place to be. Under the cover here, we've got the Toro Rosso STR3, of course, the car that propelled Sebastian Vettel to victory in the 2008 Italian Grand Prix, and of course, fourth place in China as well. We should have here the 2011 Williams as well, the FW33, the worst car that Williams ever produced, unfortunately. A record 4 points in that season as well. And here we are, the last of the V10 era, 2005 Toyota TF105. Absolutely gorgeous machine, driven by Jarno Trulli, of course, and Ralf Schumacher, and of course Ricardo Zonta in the 2005 Grand Prix before that shambles took off. And also where we should have here the 1990 Ferrari 641 as well. Unfortunately, that is not here. More cars in the post-turbo era, the Auros Megatron A10B, rather, driven by Derek Warwick, of course, as well. Lovely car there, and a car driven by Alan Jones, the Lola Beatrice for the 1986 machine as well. Absolutely wonderful. Of course, that car started the year with a Hart engine, then finally got the Cosworth upgrade it deserved. And here's a car that I'm fairly sure all the avid F1 fans will recognise, the 1985 Lotus Renault 97T, of course, propelled Ayrton Senna to victory at the 1985 Portuguese Grand Prix. The Ram Hart as well, of course, the car that Jonathan Palmer made his debut in Formula One in. And moving on further through, we've got the likes of some Lotus BRMs as well. As we move further on down here as well, we can see some Gran Turismo sponsorship in the form of the BMW M6 GT3 car that's on display here in the BMW Cemetery area. Also on display in terms of BMW as well, we've got the 2014 Z4 GT3 car, of course, that competes in the Blancpain European Championships as well. Another open cockpit car as well in the form of BMW, the V12 LM, of course, that competed in the 1999 24 Hours of Le Mans and had a bit of a spectacular race. And as well, of course, that car infamously chucking out around about a rumoured 1,000 horsepower from the V12 BMW motor behind the driver here as well, of course. And then moving on through, we've got quite a smorgasbord of Brabhams as well. We've got the 1987 BMW 56T as well, as I'm getting covered in rain. We've got the BT55 from 1986. We've got the 1985 BT54. We've got the 1984 BT53. We just move further on down the order, really. Absolutely wonderful to see. And a car that I have to say is particularly interesting is the 1983 B52, which is just right up the far end over here, because that car, of course, never hit a wind tunnel. It was just designed by Gordon Murray, of course, who designed the McLaren F1 and various other McLaren racing cars as well. And he designed that car, never hit a wind tunnel, went out on circuit, and did very, very well indeed in the championship. And just right at the far end as well, got the 1982 Brabham BMW BT50, of course, the last of the cars that failed to have a front wing due to the change in regulations in 1982. Delighted to be able to say that I found Lorina McLaughlin here today. Lorina, of course, you're a multiple British women racing drivers champion, of course, and what brings you to the Goodwood Festival of Speed in 2016?
Well, I've been offered the drive in this Arrows turbo car, the ex-Derek Warwick car, and I'd like to try and come every year to the festival, and usually driving a different Formula One car, so it's great fun.
Well, quite a privilege, I'm sure, I can imagine. So, so what other cars have you driven previously then?
Last year I was in on an Osella, which is DFV car. The year before I was driving my own Benetton, which is the ex-Michael Schumacher car. And then before that I've driven another Arrows and an M19 McLaren and an M23 McLaren. So yeah, I've been lucky to drive all sorts of different cars here. It's great.
Well, you've driven quite a fair amount of machinery. How did your route into motor racing come about for you?
Well, I was taken to a race meeting when I was very young and decided when I grew up I was going to be a racing driver, so that's how it started. I started in Formula Ford and then have now been lucky enough to drive Formula One cars, so yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you for taking the time to catch up with us quickly, Lorina.
Thank you. And by the way, I used to own and race James Hunt's M23 McLaren,
Ooh.
so yeah, I owned and raced that many years. I raced at Monaco twice in it, so yeah.
That's absolutely wonderful. I can imagine that was quite fun to be able to do so as well. I remember seeing Freddie Hunt racing around it at the Silverstone Classic Media Day actually earlier this year, and the noise it makes is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a great car. It was I think it was my favourite car of all time. I absolutely loved driving and loved owning it. It's a real privilege to own that car.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much, Lorina.
Thank you.
So moving into looking at some of the machinery around the corner, some of the Renaults that are on display here. What a treat this is to see, the 1976 Renault A500. And I'm sure a few of you will probably be watching this and thinking, I don't recognise that car. Well, with good reason as well, because it was an experimental prototype, the first ever V6 turbocharged engine ever fitted. Bit of a testing hack, as it's known. And as we move further on up the order, we've got the first of the breed as well, the Renault RS01 from 1977. That's actually got some very bare bodywork going on, so you can really see sort of inside the car and inside, well, and exactly what lack of protection these drivers had as well during that era as well. And really very, very interesting to see. And as you move further on up the order, we've got the likes of the 1979 Renault RS10 as well, driven by Jean-Pierre Jabouet, of course, and then the 1980 RE20 by Alain Prost, of course, as well. And then as we move further on up the order, we've got the likes of the 82 RE30B machine, the 1983 RE40 as well. And this is where things really sort of started coming into play for the turbo era as well. And it was such an important year for Alain Prost, especially in 1984, and of course jumped over to McLaren, sorry, 1983 rather, for Alain Prost, and of course jumped over to McLaren in 1984. And then here's a car that I hold very dearly to my heart. The first ever World Championship car for Fernando Alonso in 2005, the Renault R25, the last of the V10 era. What a gorgeous piece of machinery, and such a pleasure to be able to see it up close. You know, lovely wings and lovely gills on it, and it's just absolutely wonderful. As we can have a bit of a quick look and a close-up look inside the cockpit there as well, you can really see how much the technology has evolved over the last sort of few years or so as well, especially on the likes of the steering wheel there. Very, very interesting to be able to see how things have changed. They're, of course, also piloted by Giancarlo Fisichella. And then, of course, we move over to the 2006 car, really an evolution of the 2005 machine as well. And, once again, driven by Fernando Alonso and Giancarlo Fisichella. And, again, a very similar sort of design in principle. A few different aerodynamic changes around the side pods as well, and around here especially. And also a V8 engine, 2.4-litre V8 engine, as opposed to the 3-litre engine that we had in the 2005 machine. And as we move further on round, we come full circle, of course, into 2016 machinery in Formula E for the Renault ZE15 car, of course. We saw it earlier on at the Renault stand, but we can see it also on display here as well. Absolutely gorgeous to be able to see. I do apologise, by the way, if you're struggling to make out what I'm saying. Somebody's fired up an awfully loud car there in the background, but absolutely gorgeous machinery on display from Renault. Great to see on display here as well at Goodwood the Brawn GP BGP 001, of course, the car that propelled Jenson Button to the 2009 Drivers' World Championship, and of course Brawn GP to the 2009 Constructors' Championship as well. The most successful Formula One team in history in terms of achieving feats in their first year. You can see the car being prepared at the moment, Jenson's ex-machine, currently owned by Ross Brawn, and something that Martin Brundle will be driving up the hill later on this weekend, and something I'm sure that the fans are going to be very, very excited about, to be able to hear that screaming V8 engine on display. And you can see the car being prepared at the moment by the crack team of mechanics. And here's something now to appease our US viewers: cars that are particularly good at turning left. Great to see also on display here at the Goodwood Festival of Speed a selection of GT3 cars. You can see behind me, and probably here as well, the 2015 rather, Lexus RCF GT3 machine. They're just giving it a rev and warming it up. McLaren 650S also on display, and the 2016 as well, Chevrolet Corvette C7R. Really wonderful to see some fantastic machinery. And we should also have a Mercedes-Benz AMG GT3, but it's not turned up as of yet. And just down the far end there as well, we can see the 2013 Bentley Continental GT3 machine as well. The 2016 Le Mans winner in the LMP2 category, the Alpine Nissan, of course. And what a gorgeous car it is. Still covered, by the looks of things, in the dirt from the victory itself, of course, driven by Nicolas Lapierre, Menezes and Stefan Riquelme as well. And what a gorgeous piece of machinery. And of course, it will be the last ever victory for Nissan within Le Mans as well, in terms of the LMP2 category, at least, of course, due to the regulation changes moving forward into 2017. But it really is a gorgeous piece of machinery, and we can see here still a bit of duct tape on there from the race itself. But what a spectacular feat for the Alpine Nissan team, and a fantastic thing to have on display as well. So for those wondering whether GT Sport is here at the Festival of Speed, well, I'm pleased to say it is. Good news, it's here up at the Jaguar Drivers Club, which is fantastic too. We've got one pod for exclusive members, and it's also available to Joe Public down at the Volkswagen stand as well. There's two pods down there, and there's another pod at the FIA stand here at the Festival of Speed as well. So it's pretty exciting. Great for everybody to be able to have a go. This has got the E3 build on the game as well, so it's a bit more advanced than the one we saw at the Copper Box Arena last time for the unveiling event. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do now, is have a go on that. Right, ready for a lap of the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, shifting up the box, fifth gear as we come across the timing line in towards Paddock Hill Bend. Brake, down into third gear, clip the apex, feed the power on, feel for the grip, back on the power, over the rumble strips. Under the bridge, brake, first gear, miss the apex by a country mile, back on the power very gently, squeeze it on over the rumble strips, bit wide through there, Graham Hill Bend. Again, back tries to break away as we go through the left-hander, back on the power though. Shifting up the box once again into Surtees, shift it down, second gear, clip the apex, very tentative, very tentative, very tentative, back on the power, bang, up the gearbox. Third gear, fourth gear, 140 miles an hour as we touch it under the bridge and then go in towards Westfields. Up the hill, into the right-hander, third gear through there. Very gently on the power, squeeze it through, all a bit wide nearly. Second gear meanwhile for this right-hander, nicely done. As we go up the hill once again, and again a very difficult corner this next right-hander, and I've lost it, I'm off, I'm in the gravel. I'm still off, this has gone badly wrong. So as we mentioned, people queuing up to have a go on the brand new GT Sport demo. As we highlighted earlier on, of course, we were having a go on this in the Tag Heuer Drivers Club area, and they've got a couple of pods here as well in the Volkswagen stand using Thrustmaster T300 wheels and the T3PA Pro pedals as well. Again, using the same E3 build, so all very inclusive, very enjoyable, and as you can see, a hive of activity with people queuing up and waiting, so everybody's excited to have a go. So in terms of the physics for the game, I have to say it's much more improved, this build, compared to the build we used at the Copperbox Arena last time around. Very much more stable, it feels. The feedback is a lot better through the wheel, it feels a lot more progressive. I can really feel the retardation on the brakes as well, so as I come over the hill and in towards Paddock Bend, braking there, I can really feel the back end trying to break away from me as I turn into the corner, and you can lock up as well. I've got the ABS on 1, so there's a bit of help, but not a great deal. As I clip a late apex through Druids, the back end breaks away, again, opposite lock, and I'm soaring at the wheel, but it feels really good. The feedback in the wheel feels really strong, really positive. The car feels incredibly nice, actually. Into 30 to go. And again, I'm just squeezing the power on here. You can't take it too early, otherwise you'll just end up going off the track. But it feels really good, actually, I have to say. As I'm going down the hill now, and I can feel, I mean, you can feel that, you see the wheel, it's bucking away through my hands as well, so the feedback is really strong. Into the right-hander I go. Medium speed corner, that one, about 119 miles an hour. And then into another right-hander, down into second gear. And again, it's just, it feels really nice, really strong, really comfortable. And I mean, I'm using the T300 Thrustmaster wheel actually as well, so not the new one that we saw at the Copperbox Arena, but it's feeling really good and really positive. And again, there's just a nice amount of action. It's smooth, it's not jittery, there's no dead zone. It's very nice. As I go into the, oh dear, nearly losing the back end into clearways once again, but again, back on the power and not coming across the timeline because I'm going off the track and doing a bit of rally crossing in an LMP1 car. But again, it just feels nice, feels progressive. You can really feel the gradients and feel the car go light on the back end and into the front end as well, into Druids once again, and losing the back through there, but I'm able to catch it quite nicely because you can feel the rear going and you can almost sense what's going to happen, if you like, before it happens. And I mean, turning into a left-hander especially as well, you can really feel it. You can feel that sort of lateral force that you've got on the outside front wheel. It's really nice, actually. It feels really positive, really good, and overall a lot more polished compared to what we had at the Copperbox Arena. You can really see that they've made some leaps and bounds. I mean, for example, at the Copperbox we had new builds coming in every 4 hours or so. And this one is as I say, is the E3 build, so it's a bit further along that transition. I mean, graphically wise as well, it's not easy to tell from the camera perspective that we're using, but it looks a bit nicer, a bit sharper as well, and it's an evolution of the version that was a Copperbox, so there are still quite a few significant changes that need to be made for the final release in November. But yeah, it's feeling really nice, really good, and I have to say, overall, it feels a lot better, much better than what we had at London. So overall, looking pretty nice. So that's it from the 2016 Goodwood Festival of Speed. Thank you ever so much for watching this GTPlanet special report. I've been Tom Brooks. Check out more content to do with GT Sports and plenty of other things on the GTPlanet website. And until next time, goodbye.
So you go faster, you're going about 28 knots on the moment. Oh, who knows? Better you can get you in. You need to then go and put yourself. Here you go. Keep the speed going. Keep